So here we go. Hey guys, this is Grimlok, and I'm back with another monster video. I had a request for Ceadeus this time, so I will be doing one of those. That's him right there if you haven't seen him. He's a giant ugly whale beast. So you actually you're in a different map for this quest, and you only have 30 minutes as opposed to the normal 50 minutes. So, let's get this started. Typically you'll have the ancient mask. I actually totally forgot to put it on one of my shakalakas for this, but there are air bubbles, so I will still be able to survive even without it. It's just a convenience. So Ceadeus, as you see, you have 3 rooms on this map, and he will just be traveling through them as the fight starts. This is really just an opportunity for you to try to do damage on his beard. That is his primary weak point. So as he's going along, I like to use a sword, mainly for the reason of the hop strike that you can do, which is X and A pressed together. And that gives him a nice little attack that does a little bit of damage, but more importantly, it will jump in a direction of your choosing between back, left, and right. So what I like to do is get in small combos with him, and then finish it off with that hop strike just in the direction that he's swimming, so that I can keep up with his beard, basically. So pretty much on this first phase, you're going to want to try to focus on his beard. It is one of his breakable pieces. The other breakable pieces are his hood up here. The way you will be able to tell if that's broken is you will see some chips and indents along the top of it. It's a little hard to see, but if you look closely, you'll see it. His horn is also breakable, but unless you have really good sharpness, you will bounce off of it every time. So I will show you later in the fight. There's a pretty easy way to break that horn. Things to look out for during this phase is he will be swimming. He has these little fins along his side. If you fall behind him and get grazed by one of those fins, it will knock you over and do some damage. It's an annoyance. It's not all that big a damage, but that's the main reason I do these sideways hop strikes, so that I don't get caught by that. Another thing he'll do is he'll start shaking his head like this. He kind of signals it by kind of like he'll stop swimming and then sort of shudder a little bit, and then he'll swing his head around. Once again, not a hugely damaging attack, but all of these are pretty easy to get caught by, so this stuff will start to add up on you. So I try to still avoid it anyway, even if it's not too taxing on your health. Back to breakable parts. I think I covered all of them except for his tail. You can also break his tail. It will not cut off, but it will break once, and similar to his hood above his head, it just kind of gets some chips along the side of it. It's pretty easy to see if you look very closely. And the way you can tell if his beard is broken is you'll kind of see how shaggy it is right now. It's pretty mirthful. It's much mightier than my own beard. But once that breaks, you'll see a bunch of hairs kind of fall off, and it will be a lot less shaggy, so to speak. It's kind of easy to see. It's just a lot shorter. So this first phase actually lasts through room 1 and 2. If you see it on the map, he's just swimming along towards room 3, which will be phase 2 once he gets there. One thing to point out is if you break his beard in room 1 or 2, he will actually speed up and swim straight for 3, much faster than he's swimming now. You can also focus on his other parts. I usually don't bother with it. The main reason is you can break his other parts easier in phase 2, and then his tail, I usually don't focus that either, because if you're in this phase, if you're swimming behind him, his tail can actually do damage to you. It'll sort of sway around back behind him. I'll show it to you. It's during his swimming animation, but if you get caught by that tail, it'll actually do damage to you. So while you can't hit it, you usually will get hit by him. So I usually just focus on the beard first. Actually hitting his hood there, which doesn't hurt, as that's another thing that is breakable, but attacks. This is kind of a common underwater serpent attack where he coils up and then does a hip check into you. A lot of his moves are very difficult to dodge simply due to his size. He covers a lot of area, so don't be surprised if you find yourself unable to dodge a lot of his attacks. It's just, sometimes it's pretty much unavoidable. But once again, he doesn't do a whole lot of damage, so... And if you have your Shockalocks with you, I would definitely advise at least having a dance combination that has a hero dance, and they should be able to keep you alive pretty easily. So, once again, I'm just gonna keep working on his beard. If possible, I like to stay positioned at his side, and then just move along with him. Sometimes it's not always the easiest thing to do. See if there's any bubbles nearby first. Doesn't look like it. I would absolutely recommend using the Ancient Mask, which is one of the requirements to unlock this fight, so you'll certainly have it by this point. I just happen to forget to use it, but what that does is it gives your Shakalaka an oxygen bubble and run over to you for you to get your oxygen back. It's very useful for this fight, but not completely essential. Okay, so now he's going to proceed to near the end of this room. He's not going to get all the way into the next room, but there's not too much more I'll be able to do here. I'll try to get back in front of him here, because when he turns around, it's kind of hard to get back in front of him if he's already turned around once again, because his tail sways around a lot and do some damage to you. So he'll just continue on his way to 2. Not dodge the way I wanted to there. That's one problem with these underwater fights, is the directional dodging can get you sometimes. It can be a little ambiguous sometimes. Sometimes he'll sit still and invite you to do some damage to him. He's got mostly all of his moves actually fall in line with most of the serpent underwater fights, so if you've already fought Royal Ludroth and Lagiactus, you'll recognize a lot of these moves. They're just on a much larger scale, and that's making them much harder to dodge. He does have a few extra moves though, which you will see pretty soon. If I already mentioned it in this video, but he's weakest to dragon. If you're fighting him for the first time, I don't believe there's any dragon weapons you'll have access to. There might be, but as far as my weapons, hammer, longsword, and switch axe, I don't think I have any possible way of getting dragon. So after dragon, his next weakest element is lightning. So there's a chance I'll have a good lightning weapon. If not, that's what I would recommend. And that will work just fine against him. So now we're in the next room. I'm going to go grab some of this air real quick so I don't have to use my second oxygen supply right away. So this will be more of the same thing. He does a few different things in this room that we might see. And then if I break his beard before he gets into the middle of this room. That way, but it's okay. See, now I've gotten hit by the fin, which kind of hurts you because often will push you backwards behind him, and then it's a pain in the ass to get back ahead of him. It wastes time, so that's a very good reason to try to avoid those fins and keep up with his beard. Alright, there goes his beard. You saw a little bit of hairs kind of falling off, and you'll notice now that the area that his beard covers is much smaller. It's pretty noticeable when it's gone. So now that it's broken, he's going to try to speed up to phase 2. So he's going to be swimming a whole lot faster. I'm not really going to be able to do much to him. I might try to get a few hits on his tail, but chances are I'll get hit just as much as he does. You'll see there's this little coliseum area in the middle. Typically, if you haven't broken his beard by now, he'll actually swim up here and kind of do one of those hip checks to break down this wall. Since he's just trying to get to room 3, he skips that. Another thing he'll do is, if he gets into this room and isn't rushing to 3, he'll do a big water beam, which you will absolutely see in the next room, so you don't have to worry about missing much on that. Pretty much here, I'm just going to be trying to keep up with him. There's another oxygen bubble down there that I will grab. Get a hit in on his tail here, get some extra damage on that. That's a good thing to do. It's kind of weird, it's really ticking on when that tail will do damage to you. It's kind of like, I think it's when it's moving upwards fastest that it will hit you, but sometimes it'll just kind of graze right through you and not really do anything. I still just don't like to take the chance. I just focus on his beard first. And if I'm able to, I'll get a couple hits on the tail. So here he's trying to bust through these rocks, and then we'll move on to room 3 where the second phase will begin. So here we start in phase 2, and now he'll actually focus on you. Before he was just trying to swim along, now he's actually kind of pissed and he's going to try to kill you. So the fight changes up a little bit. This is the move that he would have done in the middle of the Coliseum. It actually has a chance to hit you as opposed to it being a cutscene. He will start the fight. It does surprisingly less damage than it looks like it would, but it's still something you don't want to get hit by. I like to grab some of these rations down here in this box that starts right below you. Grab some health. So in this phase, the first thing I like to do is, you'll see back here, there's a few things of interest. First off, I like to visit these 2 ballistas. There's one here and one over across back in that end. We'll be visiting both of them throughout this fight. So I come to this underwater ballista, and you'll notice some crates behind it. So I like to just gather from these crates. And you get underwater ballista ammo, and you can hold as many as 10. So what I'll do is I just grab as many as I can at once. It's kind of a waste of time if you grab only 1 or 2 of them and then try to shoot him. I usually even go as far as to let him get a hit in or 2 on me, just so that I can gather all these ammo. The amount of ammo you get from these crates varies. I've seen as low as 6, but I've seen as high as 10, maybe even higher, I don't recall. But it's just random. So since I only got 6 there, I'm going to go ahead and head over to the other side where there's some more of this underwater ammo. And I'll complete out my stack of 10, and I'll start trying to hit them with these ballistas. These ballistas are really good, I'll say now, for taking out his horns. As you probably saw earlier, I happened to hit one of his horns with my sword, and it bounced off, and that was even with blue sharpness, so they definitely are hard. So he's kind of just having fun right now, messing around, not aware that I'm about to start shooting him in the face with arrows. If you don't, I will say before I start this, that it can be kind of difficult. He moves around a lot, so if you really try to focus on these ballistas at first, you might find yourself having to swim back and forth between them a lot, because he'll obviously follow you to them. Once he gets too close, you will kind of lose your effectiveness. You won't be able to hit exactly where you want to. I definitely want to start out trying to hit his face, which will work towards breaking his horns. I also like to go into this first-person mode if he's high enough. You just press R to get into that mode. Shoot when he's at his horn. Of course he moved, so I hit his hood, which is still fine, because that's another breakable part of his body. You can tell that these ballistas are doing some damage, because it usually takes 2 or 3 hits directly in his face to make him stagger like that. So pretty soon he's going to have his face right in mine, and it'll be... So there's his water beam. I was able to see that quick enough to get out of the way. That's not always going to be the case, but once again, I might let you see him hit me with the water beam just so you can see how little damage it is. Of course I'm wearing G armor, so that just makes it even less, but it's not that bad of an attack to get hit by for this version of Ceadeus. So now that he's right in my face, I'm going to go ahead and head back over to this other ballista so that I can get better shots. Better yet, he's going to turn enraged. Obvious way to tell if he's enraged is he will roar like this, but then you'll notice these pink patches, which are previously blue. That lets you know that he's enraged. And there's an important thing about when he's enraged. You'll see there's a dragon here. What I like to do is he has like a little motion that he will go through, and I try to encourage it by swimming down here below the Dragonator. And so what he will do frequently is he will swim across this cave over to that end where I'm looking now, and then he'll swim down low, and then swim up to this wall here, and then swim upwards, right in front of the Dragonator. So if you can get him to do that, then that is a perfect opportunity to hit him in the face with the Dragonator. He will not always do it, I can guarantee that, but I think the chances of making him do it by swimming down here increase. So see, now he is doing it. You definitely want to wait until he's enraged like this to use the Dragonator on him. The Shockwalkers will even tell you, now use the Dragonator on him once he enrages. It's just he takes much more damage from it. So, as you see, he swimmed across and swimmed downwards. So I'll get in position to activate this Dragonator. And so he's going to swim up to this wall just underneath me and then start heading upwards. One thing to point out is the actual box of the Dragonator is not those spikes, it's just below it, so I try to time it so that his face is just below the spikes. And there you see, the face. And so that will do massive damage to his horn. I can pretty much guarantee you that it will only take a few more hits with the ballista, and that horn will come off. And on this version of the Ceadeus, only one of the horns is breakable. It's his larger horn, I believe. There's a subspecies of Ceadeus called Goldbeard where both of his horns are breakable, but that's a different fight. Something we don't have to worry about here. So I'm trying to get some more hits in on his... Oh, see, just took one more attack. There goes his horn. So I'm going to go ahead and gather some more of this ballista ammo since I'm down to 3. You'll see his horn is sitting there. That is an extra carvable. So now I have gathered all the underwater ballista ammo. That's all you get. So I'm going to swim back across and use the rest of these 4. Of course, I'm having my sights to make sure he's not going to try to take me from behind with one of those water beams. So now, it's fine to keep hitting him in the face. That's where he will take the most damage. Or you can also start working on his tail or his hood with these ballistas. Anything will work fine. I'll probably try to get some hits in on his hood. this ballista won't turn left anymore, but I should be able to catch the very side of him. Oh, I've got him in the face instead. See, that deals a nice amount of damage to him. Get another shot in on his head. Kayaba's gonna come and get right in my face, and Cha-Cha. They like to do that. Definitely expect that when you go into first person mode. So he'll be enraged again. I am completely out of ballista ammo, so now I'm going to just start melee attacking him with my sword here. I'll first start working on his hood and his tail, but once those are broken, I'll just be working on his chin. Another thing to note is, unless you have a particularly good weapon and are able to be extremely efficient against him, specifically in the first phase, you probably will not kill him in the first quest. It's a multi-quest monster, which means if you do not kill him, then the next time you do it, and he did not die, you will actually start in this phase with the full 30 minutes. I think he heals a little bit, but he will actually still have anything that you broke on him broken, so if this comes to the second quest, his beard will still be broken, his horn will still be broken, and if I manage to get his hood, then those will be broken, that will be broken as well as his tail. So, I've taken as long as 3 quests to kill this guy before. It's a totally common thing, so don't be discouraged if you don't get him the first or second time. One kind of important thing is you'll notice that I kind of went straight to the Dragonator after the first time he enraged, and that is because the Dragonator has a pretty long cooldown. It's like, I've never timed it, I looked it up, but I believe it's like maybe 15 minutes. It's a pretty long cooldown. So you saw that I'm already back down to 10 minutes. So it's probably going to be right near the end of the quest before that Dragonator comes back up, and you definitely want to try to get him at least, or you want to get him twice in one quest with the Dragonator. So yeah, once again, he has most of the nerves that any of the other underwater serpent fights have, pretty much with the exception of that big water beam you've seen him do a few times now. And again, I'll point out that now that he's not enraged, these patches underneath him are blue, as opposed to pink, which is when he's enraged. Can be kind of frustrating because he moves around a lot, so if you're trying to target something in specific like his hood, like I am, it can actually be pretty hard to hit despite how big he is. He's deceptively wily. Unfortunately, that can tend to waste a lot of time on a fairly short time quest. To look out for is you'll see that that beam starts out kind of just at the radius of his mouth, but it gets much wider the further away you are, so if you're just to the side of his head, you'll probably still get hit. Now he's enraged again. I'm kind of surprised his hood hasn't broken yet. It usually doesn't take as much work to break. It's also kind of ambiguous as to where specifically his hood is, where specifically his tail is. So I usually try to stay safe and be right up on that top hump if I'm breaking the hood and right near the bottom of his tail. This is another time-wasting move he has where he'll just kind of swim around for a while and then coil up and swim at you. It's another water serpent movement. It tends to take a little longer to complete the whole action. Fortunately, I can say that his tail does not take as much break as his enemies. I should have started on that so I can at least guarantee that I can show you that. Hey, Mr. Mish, how you doing? There goes his head finally, so hopefully I'll still have enough time to take care of his tail here. Nope, took literally one hit, so that's nice. So I'll try to show you how his head looks after it's broken, so you know what to look out for. So yeah, you can see a nice big chip right there, and along the top of it. And then we'll try to get a good look at his tail. Yeah, nice chips just along the side of it. And this is everything you can break on him. Tri-servers went down just permanently or temporarily. So now that I've broken everything, I'm going to exert most of my effort into his beard, as that is his weakest point. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, he's pretty annoying as far as his movements. He'll move whatever you're trying to hit out of the way quite frequently. I'm thinking the Dragonator will come up again where this fight finishes, but I may not have time to get him while he's enraged again. That would definitely be better for you, I think. There we go. So, let's see how much time we have left in this quest. 2 minutes. I'm definitely going to start heading over this way. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have time to where he's enraged and does that motion that makes him easiest to get with the Dragonator. I might have to improvise. First I need some oxygen. Yeah, now he's lost in rage. Let's see if we can make him enrage again real quick here. I doubt I'll have time. One thing that's unfortunate is I actually had a really low yield on the underwater ballista ammo. That actually makes a really big difference. It does a lot of damage to him. And I just didn't get much of it in there, so that didn't help at all in this fight. I'm sure they get ranged. Since he's right in front of the Dragonator, I'll probably still be able to get a pretty good hit on him. get him again with this Dragonator, which is unfortunate. But sometimes he's just not going to cooperate with you. I'm actually going to activate it right now. In fact, I think I completely missed with that. That's okay though. So this is what's happening if you don't kill him outright. He just leaves. This is dependent on if you do enough damage to him. He's got a damage threshold that you won't know if you've passed it. It's just keep on doing damage to him. If you've done enough, then he'll flee. Otherwise, you'll fail. So yeah, if I were to do this quest again, it would start exactly in this room and just be the exact same thing you saw. There wouldn't be any of the swimming through phase 1 or phase 2. So, yeah, it's a little unfortunate that I wasn't able to kill him or, you know, even show the strategy that I like to, but this should give you a good idea of the entire fight. That's everything he does. It's not particularly difficult, it's just time consuming. But anyway, if you have any questions, any comments, any special requests, just let me know in the comment box. Also, feel free to visit me at my stream at www.twitch.tv/Grimlok24. I usually stream every night, and I hope to see you there, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching.